Welcome into the Marshals, the Casters, full, half, or quarter, divine, primal, or arcane to the Cloaks and Capes podcast. I'm your host, Robbie, mostly Marshall Landis, but I've been playing a lot of Casters recently and kind of liking it. And my co-host, along with us as always, is Kali. Will she ever not play Paladin or Warlock Scales? No, I get it. You need a smite. You need a smite. I think that's what it is, right? You rarely roll the nat 20, so when you do, you want to be able to capitalize on them in like the biggest way possible.
I mean, you're not wrong. I think it's just I like playing charisma characters, but
you hate to be able to like throw in those like really good monologues and have those like big moments and then get asked to roll
persuasion.
For yeah.
No, I don't want to do
100%
that. No.
Get it. 100% get it.
Charisma casters for life.
Yep. So first thing I want to say before we get into everything is if you're listening to us, whether this is your first time, your fifth time, your 23rd time, if you've been following along since the beginning, leave us a rating or a review wherever it is that you're listening. That helps more people find us. Our guest today you're probably going to know her most if you recognize her from TikTok as CancerMoonCleric. And if you don't, go follow. Because amazing, great content. I have to say that the thing. Well, welcome in, Jen. I guess I should give you a chance to. You already warned us how much you like to talk, so I'm trying to get in as much as I can before like you and Kali just run off with it. But I just want to commend you and a lot of the creators over there. I feel like I'm always just seeing so much content come out from people that I'm like, how do you all? There's so much. I struggle to manage like 2 to 3 posts a day, and there's always something new from everyone.
Listen, I'm trying to regrow the account, and so Dice Whispers was like, we got to post. So if she says it, we do it. And then keeping up with, Justin from So You Want to Be DM, they have done such phenomenal like editing now, and so like I have to keep up. So I'm just trying to be like, what can I do? And so luckily there are a lot of topics in D&D to talk about that not everybody agree on, and I am one for a fight. So I will take that every single time. And then people are really liking the Zodiac thing too. So I'm digging it.
Oh, well, that explains so much better, because I was saying like, I had a character that had moon cancer once.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep,
no, I get it. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we called ruidium poisoning in Call of the Netherdeep. Yep. Well, speaking of moons and Cancer as a zodiac, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
Something that we like to do with all of our guests is a little bit of a thank you. And I asked you a little bit about one of your characters, but when I was looking through some of your content, I got inspired in a different way. But we created you a magic item. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about this magic item here. I'm not sure if it should be rare or very rare, so the two of you can help me decide on that. Okay. But it's called Symbol of the Two Moons. Wondrous item, requires attunement by a cleric. I imagine as like a pendant, kind of like a Celtic cross sort of deal, but with like a large sort of circle right in the center that shows the current phase of the moon as it's passing over water, because Cancer is water aligned. Mm-hmm. This magic item can be used as a holy symbol. You can cast the Spirit Guardian spell through it without expending a spell slot. Once cast, you cannot cast it again in this way unless you expend the appropriate spell slot. When you cast it without expending a spell slot, though, you can choose one of 2 additional effects. The first is called Aura of Heroes. At the start of your turn, you can grant up to 3 creatures, including yourself, in your emanation, temporary hit points equal to 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier, and they have advantage on their next saving throw within 1 minute. The other is the Aura of Heathens. If a creature in your emanation takes half damage, their speed is reduced by 10 feet until the end of their next turn, and they have disadvantage on their next saving throw within 1 minute.
Oh my God. So I need somebody to make this for me immediately so I can give this to all of my characters. I don't care if it's not allowed in that current campaign. This was gifted to me. So technically,
that's right.
All of my characters have it. And I need
Cloaks
jewelry
and Capes
makers.
Approved.
Yeah, I need jewelry makers.
We are working on getting our artist to also make an illustration of it. So when it happens, you'll be the first to know.
What is happening? Oh my God, everybody. That is, I listen, gift giving is my love language, and very rarely, it's not about the gift. It's about the thought behind the gift that really makes it. And this was... I love it. Oh my gosh.
You're very welcome.
Robbie's love language is also gift giving.
It is. I give the best gifts.
You do.
I mean,
Now, the reason that we had you on, Jen, I actually reached out to you just recently because of a few videos that you had made specifically talking about. Oh, puppy!
Yeah, that's mine. He's always near me. I'm surprised.
He was camouflaged there.
Yes.
Oh.
He's my grumpy old man. That's Bo. I think he'll be 10 this year. Me and my kid's dad. We adopted both of our dogs in 29 Palms. That was the duty station we met. We were both Marines. And so he's been with me ever since, and he's just a grumpy old man, and he thinks he's bigger than he is.
It looks so cute.
Ivy's
so
somewhere.
Sweet.
My big girl is somewhere. She's probably eating, if I'm being so honest. I didn't
All right.
fill up their
Well,
bowl, so.
we always love distraction when it comes to pets. But classes in D&D, there was I think there's always some level of debate about if you're new to D&D, what class should you start with?
Yeah.
Are some classes harder or more complex than others? What is your responsibility as a new player when it comes to learning or knowing your class and knowing your spells at the table? So I don't know, where do you want to, Jen, where do you want to start? Where do you think is like the good jumping in point of as a new player, I'm trying to pick my class. Do you feel like there are easy classes that new players should do first before they take on the more complex classes like Wizard or Druid?
So when I first started playing, this is what I believed. I believed that there were some that were easier than others. But as you play more and more and you delve into each of the different classes, you realize that they all have their special things that make them what they are. And not one is easier than the other. Like everybody's like, oh, be a fighter first. No, fighter has like superiority dice, and you have to have like all of your maneuvers and things like that. If you went barbarian, you have to remember how to rage. There's so many. Each class has its own unique fun additions that one isn't easier than the other. And when we were talking about, bringing this up, I'm like, is there one that I would recommend as a DM for a new player? And it was really hard to decide because there's so many additions. Like druids have wild shape. Casters in general have spell slots, and that is a whole thing in and of itself, Yeah,
it really comes down to me, I think, you had kind of pointed it out that when it comes down to like the minutia of it, subclasses can really help to determine whether or not something is easier or something is a lot harder. If you play something like, forget if it's the Vengeance barbarian or there's one barbarian with all their stuff is basically just do more damage when you hit things. Sure. Yeah. That's going to be a lot easier than the World Tree Barbarian that can like teleport around and give people temporary HP and teleport people back to them as well. And I know a lot of people might say that like, oh, Rogue is a really easy one to learn. And as a Rogue main, I would say that on paper, yes, Rogue looks very easy. Yes. But when you look to the professionals, like in Critical Role, 10 years or 15 years on, I don't know, 3 campaigns, you still have them going, okay, hold on, do I have sneak attack or not?
Yes, yes, there's always something. And as a new player, just breaking, and I feel like I have a unique position on it because I am so new to D&D. I have vivid memories of what it was like to be a new player and to try to figure all of this out. And so I think that helps me as a DM when I have new players. I love new players because I can take them through step by step. And when you look at learning the character sheet and it all of the different things that constantly change and you're adding to, and then you look to pick what classes and subclasses and what features and then all of this stuff, it's just overwhelming. And so my recommendation is, if you can, start your players at level 1. Let them learn their characters step by step, and then work them through that character sheet, take them around town and let them know, and then you have to slowly ease in, but obviously that's not everybody's you're not gonna have an entire table of newbies, right?
Yeah.
Very rarely.
I think level 1 is good when you have a table that is mostly new players.
See,
I hate level 1.
Yes, on the last show, I remember you specifically mentioning start at level 3 because that's when you start to get like the
when you
meat
start to
of
feel
what
like
makes you unique.
But if you are a table where, 3 of your 5 people are new, level 1 makes a lot of sense. And in general, I think that obviously, marshals are easier to play than casters. You don't have to learn all your spells, which is the big, learning curve of casters.
And obviously not all casters are created equal either.
Correct.
If you're a bard, if you're a sorcerer, you take a set number every single level, and that's it.
That's it.
Not like cleric where you have all
Divine,
your spells.
yes,
spells.
exactly.
But I would argue that that's a little more flexible for a newbie, being like, I am not locked into these spells, and any DM who forces that on a brand new player is you're not a good person.
No,
but
it's terrible.
being able to change your spells, like somebody, I was having a discussion with somebody, and I don't know if we were fighting about it or what. TikTok does whatever, but listen, I don't know why people want to fight with me, but I'm going to. They were talking about that, and What were we? Where was the direction of this? We've lost it.
I don't know. I actually lost it now too.
Spells being locked in.
Yes, locked in spells.
Yeah, you get to change them, and somebody was like, you have to. That's too much. You have to know every single spell. I was like, show me one person who knows every single class spells by heart. Show me one.
Yes. Oh my God, that is such a red flag, and that was actually going to be my next point too. Is when it comes to determining what class you want to start with, like any type of game. In fact, I feel like more so with tabletop RPGs. If you go to sit down at like a board game night and somebody brings, whether it's Settlers of Catan or Monopoly, if someone doesn't know the rules, you don't throw the rule book at them and be like, start reading and then you can join in. You teach them as you go.
Yes.
And tabletop RPGs have so many more rules. So if you're going to join a group for the first time, or you're playing a new class for the first time, maybe you've played for 5 years, but this is the first time you're picking up a caster or a druid, and the DM tells you, you better know your stuff before you get here, run from that game, because a good table, whether the DM or the other players, will be patient with you. They'll help you learn things. Aside from like those horror stories you hear where, the wizard sits here and takes 15 minutes for a turn being like, oh, I was going to use this, but it doesn't do what I thought it did. And then they just keep on going through them. You're right. That is a little bit much.
Yes.
But a good table will help you.
Correct.
And look, in answer to what is the best class for a new player.
Oh, here we go.
It's Paladin.
No, I was.
Here's
You're
why.
gonna
Here's
hate
why.
me.
Here's why
I
it's
picked
Paladin.
that as my worst. Okay, let's hear. Okay, I'm so sorry.
Fight.
No,
fight.
It's
fight.
Fight. Here's why. Here is why Paladin is the best class to put in.
Okay.
Because you can absolutely deep dive in, learn all your spells, and try to play it ideally. Or you can just say those are smite slots, and that's all you use them for. You can put in as much or as little effort as you want, and you can still play Paladin well.
All right, before I let Jen hopefully pummel you into a corner, here's my question for you. You think that Paladin is the easiest class, so what does that say about you?
I said the best class for a
but
new
we're
player.
talking about easy classes here.
Okay. We're going to fight on a different topic there. Okay,
Well,
okay.
I mean, yeah, I'll stay by it. I think it's one of the easiest classes too.
Then why is that the one you seem to play the most?
Because I love it. I don't mind that it's easy. I mean, look, is it champion fighter easy? No, nothing is as easy as champion fighter in this game. It has literally just a bunch of buff mechanics for its subclass, and you attack 1 to 4 times. That's all you have to do to play fighter or champion fighter.
I learned how to play fighter out of pettiness. Because I found out that somebody that my wife did not like, and if there's somebody that she doesn't like, then I don't care. And
those are the laws, right? As far as I was aware of it.
If I'm your friend first, everything else is out the window. We will ride or die. I don't need any justifications. I don't need any reasoning. No, if I have chosen you to be in my friend group, we hate everybody else. I don't care.
Hey, when the guards attack, we all roll initiative, right?
Period. So, I guess this person at the table, like, one wasn't like a very nice person, so I wasn't too mad about it, but then played a fighter, and then like after several sessions, didn't realize she had superiority dice.
So she was playing a battle master, but didn't realize she had the superiority dice?
And I'm just like, okay, so now I was like, put me in, coach. I will learn just so I know what I'm talking about. If I ever, a complete imaginary situation, never gonna happen. Would have never played at this table. Like they live someplace else. But if I did,
so did they get like defensive when someone brought it up? Like, hey, how come you're not using your superiority dice? And then they acted like, oh no, I know that I have them.
No, she just. I think it was a couple sessions in, and Sky was like, Sky. Wait, let me stop saying names. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. I stand by what I say. I'm gonna defend my girl to the end. But she realized that looking at her sheet, she I guess asked something one session, and she was like, "Wait a minute. This is a pretty like baseline thing for fighters. What you doing?" And so I learned how to play fighter out of complete pettiness because I was like, if I'm ever in this imaginary situation where I'm the fighter in the group. Sky starts the shit. I don't know if I can curse. She starts
You are good to curse. Yep.
I cash the checks that Sky's mouth writes. And so, that whole like Scorpio Cancer dynamic. So she starts the fights and I finish them. And so
that, by the way, I would love to play like a character with someone that's just based on that dynamic. You use your mouth to like write the checks and I will cash them for you using my axe.
By the way, I love the comparison because you've got like the opposite relationship. You've got a Cancer Scorpio. My wife and I are both Cancers, so you can imagine what that relationship is like.
I can't. I have no idea what any of that means. You both like the beach because water, right?
I don't.
We're both very squishy.
Yeah. Okay, that tracks.
Yes, there is. Listen, don't get me on a tangent because I will go off because I think Cancers are seen there. They call us the crybabies. What they don't realize is if I'm crying, you've pushed me to a point that I can't come back from, and I'm about to cut you out of my life. I'm about to hurt you. I'm about to go to jail for something, and I'm sad about that. And so it's not what we can't control our emotions. It's because we feel the emotions so deeply. We are all natural empaths and we can't block that out. And it's so overwhelming when we give and we give and we give and we pour out of our pot and nobody pours into us. And I think that's the biggest, that's the biggest thing. Cancers love to give. We love to love, but we also want that in return and we don't always get it.
Oh man, Jen.
I got you, boo. Listen, we can go on forever.
Oh my gosh.
So
I think the other big thing to remember too, and honestly, like I'm at the point where I want you to choose something based on either a character you want to play, a story you want to tell, and not have to worry about it.
Correct.
And obviously, yes, I think that when it comes to casters, that's where people get the most anxiety about it, especially because the idea of like, when they say things like prepare spells or prepare spell slots. That seems really intimidating. Like, what? I have to prepare these when in reality it's just picking stuff.
Yeah.
But like even now, I'm still learning. I've been playing D&D. I started 5th edition about when it first came out, and I only just learned about Vortex Warp and Scatter last year because Kali made the most annoying mage by choosing all of the meta picks.
I literally just was like. Because the noob trap is to like pick wizard and be like, I'm going to just fireball stuff, which don't get me wrong, fireball is great and it's a fun time. Lightning bolt's great and it's a fun time. But wizard is busted strong when you start using the spells that let it control the battlefield. And that is where wizard shines.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, because the game, this edition has been out for so long, and even with all of the changes that have come in 2024, there's still the internet. You have the internet, right? There's no reason that even if a class feels complex, that you shouldn't be able to find a creator or some guide or some video that can give you a baseline of like, what are the best wizard spells to use, right?
And that's the character he gave Moon Cancer.
All right, look, I didn't do that, okay? In fact, I gave you an out. You went to pick up a doll covered in ruidium, and I said, do you touch it? And you said, yes, I do. No. And I said, are you wearing gloves? And you paused. And then you specifically went to look at your character sheet because your commission because you have fingerless gloves. You did that to yourself.
I did. I actually went and looked up the commissioned art that I got on my character and went, She does have gloves, but they're fingerless.
And then you proceeded to roll, I believe, a natural
nat
one
one,
on the
yep.
saving throw.
I did.
All right.
I did
so
do that,
don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Oh my gosh. Obsessed. It's so funny because I have a couple of campaigns that I'm running on the weekends, and I'm so blessed to have new players. And one of them came in and she wanted to play a druid. And for me, even as many games as I play, druid is still one of the more intimidating classes because now you have wild shape and you have additional stat blocks and all these other things you have to incorporate. And so what I do is for those situations, at least in my games, I have a session 0 for that person in particular, where we go over everything Barney style, where we go down the line of their entire character sheet. I help them build, we roll the stats and whatever. But I also allow, as long as they're okay with it, my other players to just jump in, be silent lurkers. And this worked out really great because I had somebody who was a druid main and who was offering great advice along with, so it was definitely a collaborative effort. But I also didn't pressure her. Like you were saying, like you have to know and memorize everything. I was like, no, if we need to, I'll give you a couple sessions. If you don't like this spell or if you think something else is better, let's talk about it. I want you to have fun here. That's the whole point. It's not like you versus me and winning. If you're not having fun, I'm not having fun. So let's figure this out. And so we actually got to do some impromptu role play. I was like, let's get you into character. Let's see how you feel with this. That's one of the more intimidating parts. And my other players who were silent lurking, I'm like, okay, your dad, your brother, and everybody jumped in. And it was such a fun time and a fun session with no pressure. So I think the pressure and the environment that you create lends a lot to whether or not they are able to learn their character sheet.
I might wrestle a few jimmies with this because one of the things that you said there about having fun, love that. And I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned myself, and especially when it comes to new players, is it can feel overwhelming, you know, especially if you're like in combat or some sort of like initiative or exploration where you're asking, what do you want to do? And as a caster, you know, they have this big long list of stuff and there's so many words. If you just look at a spell and feel like, oh, this spell should be able to do this, or maybe it can work in this way, even if it's not rules as written, I'm going to let you roll for it. Yeah. If you want to use Ice Knife to try and like freeze over like a lake in front of you to try to walk across it, I'm going to let you do that.
Exactly.
Rules as written don't matter to me. Tell me what you want to do, and I will tell you how you can try to accomplish it.
Correct. The rule of cool, I think, takes the edge off. It's already a nervous situation, especially when we're playing online. You know, you're people you don't know, you've never met. You're jumping into a group and you're expected to cohesively bond with this group because now you're in a party and you're going to save the world, and it's a lot of pressure. And how can you do that and look at your character sheet of a million things you don't know because we started at level 5? You know, that is so much. That's so many different components to go through, so many different clicks that you have to go through, pages you have to flip through. It's a lot. So I am a big fan of fast leveling. Let's start at level 1. Okay, cool. The session's done. Level 2. Boom. Now you get to add things one at a time, and you can see them as they go in. And you might not fully like remember everything completely. No, but now it's registering a little bit more. Okay, well, I have this, and now I have this. And then I talk with them a lot about action economy. How can you combine things? When you're picking your spells, try to pick spells that have different casting times, actions, reactions, bonus actions. Don't just limit yourself to that. Try to find things, you know, I am a bad person about like picking spells. I'm doing like Circle of Stars. This one's Starry Wisp. I'm going to pick that because it sounds like it matches. So it takes the edge off.
My spell thought process, and obviously if you're a divine caster, you know, completely different. And it is a little bit harder because you have to sometimes try to think what spells might we need for the day.
Right, what's going to come up.
Yeah.
Whereas for my bard, you know, she has a very specific sort of like vibe that she fits. And so even though like, oh, I've really been wanting like an invisibility type spell, pyrotechnics, how do you take invisibility instead of pyrotechnics as a bard? I have to take pyro. It fits too good.
Exactly. And
how
so,
often is pyrotechnics going to come up?
I mean, it's not bad.
Often as you make it.
I think I've used it once or twice for like shows to get, advantage or whatever.
Addition to the performance. But yeah, it's so funny because the two of you have brought up, because I was like, okay, they're going to ask like which one is the hardest for new players, which one's the easiest. And we've kind of flipped it. I said Paladin would be the hardest and Rogue would be the easiest.
My hardest is Sorcerer. I think
That's
Sorcerer
fair.
is a very difficult class to play well. You get such a limited number of spells. The sorcery points are not exactly intuitive, and there's a lot of weird like interactions and use cases that you have to learn and like go to the DM on. Different DMs rules certain things different ways. I think Sorcerer is very hard to play.
Yeah, I definitely think that there are some that are more complex. Sorcerer is definitely a good one. Jenn, like you had mentioned with Druid, not only do you have spell slots as a divine caster, needing to worry about beast stat blocks too can also be a pain. I think that Rogue, even though I think it's an amazing, great, awesome change, I think Rogue did get more complicated because of the Cunning Strikes feature that they got in 2024 as well. Ranger, depending on your subclass, with how inconsistent pets are as a class mechanic or as a magic item mechanic, I still lose my mind over the fact that my Ranger, who have been with my bear companion all my life, have to tell him every 6 seconds what to do. But if I pearl a little fuzzy bear out of a bag of tricks and throw it on the ground, that bear knows enough to just attack something till I tell it to do something different. And I can do that 3 times?
Oh, I know. Listen, there are some that I have purposefully avoided. Like I went really... So... My introduction to D&D was quite a unique one. I am so grateful for it, but we started as level 7 sorcerers.
Everybody? Oops, all sorcerers?
So it was... remember back to when we were talking about what I used to platform. That is how I was segued into this, because I was brought into that and it was the homebrew, so it wasn't any right. So but we went to level 7, so we weren't even there, right? We were after the fact. And so now we have all of these things going on, and there were 3 brand new players, the DM and a veteran player. And so I always put that in my head because I'm so grateful that they wanted to run this for us, because I wouldn't be here without that. But I think the best way I can describe it is they forgot what it was like to be a new player. And so starting us that high and us not fully understanding, the character, like I was making graphics for each section, trying to teach, me and the other players weekly, like, okay, this is what these are. This is what this is. And like asking. And so it was just really complex. And so I stayed away from Sorcerer for a really long time. But, getting more comfortable and things like that, I've come back to it and I really enjoy it. I take Meta Magic Adept for every, feature outside of Warcaster when I can, because I love, the close and the distance spell and subtle spell and twin spell. Amazing. Gorgeous. But yeah, I could definitely see how that could, but like I said, I go back to it. I think D&D is just a complicated game. I think every class is complicated. And so trying to characterize the easier ones to the not easier ones, everybody's mind works differently. Everybody's play style is differently. So I say Paladin was the hardest because you have both melee and casting all in one. So you're taking everything and rolling it into one. And then Rogue, the reason I went with a little more easy because they're, you're not the tank, right? You're not the full on in battle, like taking all the damage. If you don't do that, then we're all screwed. You're the one that can go to the side and then, come in and then run out. There's less risk, I think, of messing up in combat.
That Rogue it is also a lot easier when you have someone who's willing to work with you to make sure that you have either advantage or someone's adjacent to it. Because I think that's where it gets really complicated, is when if there's someone with they're with you being like, all right, you have it now because I'm here, or you have advantage so you can, take it. It's a lot easier than just rolling to attack and then someone being like, oh, you get to use sneak attack, but not helping you to understand why this time, but not why the other time.
Yeah. Right. You have to explain, why did you get sneak attack this time and not before?
Yes.
Like being able to understand that is huge. And I think even I'll ask you all a question. I'm of two minds. I'm torn. Should new players have to learn pen and paper before going to a digital character sheet? Or is learning a digital character sheet a good segue into learning pen and paper if necessary?
I don't think you necessarily have to do one or the other. You know, there are some people that I think being able to put it on paper in a way that makes sense to them could be very, very helpful. But for other people like myself, you know, who has ADHD so bad that while we're sitting here doing this show and I have an outline in front of me, still loses my place. Having it all on D&D Beyond, where I always know where something is going to be, works for me. So yeah, I don't think it should be a thing like you have to do it this way or that way before this. You should be doing it whichever way is easiest for you.
Yeah, I don't think, like, because I know a lot of people who only play online D&D at this point. They don't have a home game, so they don't really need a pen and paper sheet. I know for some people, they don't want to have to figure out the math. They don't want to be bothered to remember, do I have proficiency in this? Do I not have proficiency in this? What is that bonus right now? Then they just want to play it online. I think that's great. I'm glad that exists. I think personally, I always have a soft spot in my heart for pen and paper, but not for D&D. It's actually other systems that I think it's more fun to have it on pen and paper. Cyberpunk is really nice if you have pen and paper. L5R.
Who has a printer nowadays to print off the character sheets that you need?
I mean, I guess I still have a printer. Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
I have to do stuff. Well, the only reason I ask is I was so fortunate. I think earlier this year we went on a mountain trip and we got to play. It was like a whole D&D weekend. It was somebody's birthday, so we got to play. And it was cool. So fun. It was the best time. But we were using paper sheets, and I had only been, because I does all the thing. I have dyscalculia, so the numbers get jacked up for me and things like that. But what I learned is, because we started a low level, in doing it the reverse way, by having the digital character sheet and then being comfortable and familiar, when I went to pen and paper, I was able to learn little things that I didn't realize I didn't know, because everything was done digitally. But because I was so comfortable with the digital format, when I went in, I was like, okay, I can do this. Oh, wait, what's this? I was able to see little small things. And it's kind of like watching, like I am a huge book person. Like, I believe that if there's a movie, you have to read the book first. You have to go to the original source. The only caveat to that is Game of Thrones. Because
I would like to humbly add Wicked to that list. You do not have to.
No, don't read it.
Don't read the book.
I tried. It was so bad. I tried to do an audiobook. It was so bad. But the way that the places, my brain couldn't connect because they were so unique. It was such a completely different world with names that didn't have any correlation, that it was really hard for me to keep track of everybody. But when I was able to watch the show first and then go back and read the book, I felt like I enjoyed it more, because I was like, oh, I know who this is, where I would have been lost before. So that's kind of why I asked, because going digital this way gave me a solid foundation, but then I was able to go in and find smaller things, which I thought was cool.
I think Robbie and I both came up in the era where pen and paper was your only choice.
Well, so. Even now, like if you do pen and paper with D&D, or even with something like Cyberpunk, you have like a few pages of your character sheet. But back in 4th edition, and I know that people are going to come into the comments and be like, oh, well, in 3rd, well, in 2nd. But in 4th edition, when you had like your abilities, it was kind of set up in a way similar to like MMOs, where you would like choose your abilities, kind of like cards, sort of. And so I remember having to go through and not just fill out your character sheet, but then you get index cards for each ability or attack you had. And so then at the bottom, you're like, oh, let me figure out my attack. It's half my level, plus whatever proficiency bonus was back then, plus like your main stat, plus any bonuses you have. And then every time you level up, that changes. So you have to redo a little math formula at the bottom of the index cards. Ugh. I loved 4th edition, but that was lame as hell.
I don't like it. No, nothing.
Yeah. No. Listen, there are some modern conveniences that we can all just accept.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. It makes it easier. I think it honestly makes it a little bit more accessible because, there are those of us with, certain non-abilities, like with my numbers, like somebody with dyscalculia trying to enjoy a math-based game is really overwhelming. Even with the digital, character sheet, I have to go back and look and remember because, that's just not how my brain is wired. And with the ADHD and all this kind of stuff, I'm so grateful for it. I think that has maybe given an opportunity to be more accessible, going online.
Oh, absolutely.
Does it remove, the human factor? I don't think so. I think I have players who are in the UK, who are in Spain, who make time to meet up with us. I've heard, amazing stories of us globally being connected now that we can do this, virtually. And I think having a service that does your character sheet for you it's all about taking the pressure off. Like when you're stressed, how are you supposed to function and enjoy yourself? But there are the little things that make it more fun because it's less stressful.
Yeah, and I mean, there is obviously a certain sort of je ne sais quoi to being in person with people that, like, you can't really explain. I know, people are like, oh, being in person is better. I mean, maybe for you it is if you found, like, the right table, but being online opens up the potential player pool 1,000,000%. And for people whose only choices without that is a bunch of racists down or sexists down at the hobby shop or the comic book store, guess what? Being in person is not better. It is infinitely worse.
Yeah, listen, all things equal, is being in person better? Probably. But very seldomly are all things equal.
Correct.
Yes.
Boom.
All right, let's get final thoughts. Okay. Anything you haven't had a chance to get out yet? Final thoughts on the topic. New person sitting down, wants to play D&D, isn't sure what class they should play. What is your advice?
Hexblade Warlock.
Oh my God, go away.
It's one stat that you have to build, and all you do is smack them with your weapon. It's great. Eldritch Smite every now and then.
That's it. That's all it is.
What would you know what using Eldritch Smite is like? You have to roll a natural 20 to really get use out of it.
Okay. First of all, that's hurtful. I would say something very not nice, but I'm about to announce my political campaign, and now I don't want this episode to be watched by anyone.
It's fine. This is still before. Just say it. It's fine.
No, I should.
I can't. I literally can't. No, I think my advice to new players is play what you want to play. Play what speaks to you.
Yes.
Play what kind of character you want to play. There's a table out there for everybody, and find you a table of people who are willing to help you learn and want to add you to the story, because all of my new players have added such beautiful elements to my storytelling as a DM and as a player that I don't think I would have had it not been for them being new. And so find what calls to you, play what you want to play multiple characters, and have fun with it. Just have fun.
Yeah, honestly, I couldn't have said it better myself. If you come to me and you're like, hey, I'm a big Annie Moore fan, and I thought maybe I would try to make like a character like Jake, but I heard that Druid like is really hard. Don't sweat it. We're going to figure it out for you.
Exactly.
You play what speaks to you.
Correct.
All right.
100%.
Here at the end of the show, before we get going, we do actually have a nice little fun segment we like to do. It's an Am I the Asshole, but with a little bit of a change to the usual way that this is done. All the stories are submitted from the character's perspective. So it's not like an actual asshole thing in like real life where people might get their feelings hurt. This happened in game, in character, and you're going to help us decide if this person was the asshole or not.
Gorgeous.
All right. Am I the asshole for giving my body over to a misogynistic pumpkin for vital information? A week ago, I, 19 Kitsune, made a deal with an otherworldly entity, maybe an archfey, for information to save our kingdom. We recently started our own domain in the Fahrenheit region, and recently I was visited by my goddess who told me that ruin was coming. She told me that she couldn't share any more information, that her hands were tied, quotation marks, by other divine powers. Then the dreamscape, including my goddess, got frozen in a time stop, and we were visited by the Pumpkin King, or maybe he was a Lantern King. Either way, he offered information and power, but because I didn't like how he silenced women, I immediately turned him down. Until a few days later. I was so racked with anxiety about people in our kingdom dying that I summoned the misogynistic pumpkin man and made 2 deals with him. One was information in exchange for him borrowing my body. Contingent on a few ground rules, I was very thorough. And the second was that I would always listen when he had something to say to me, but he has to show my goddess more respect in perpetuity. Anyways, I made these deals a week ago, haven't told my friends about it until last night, and then I woke up in an alleyway with 1 handful of wolfsbane and a bag with 500 gold in the other. They seem really upset that I made these deals and didn't really say anything about it until the last minute after the fact. I don't see why they're so upset since I assured them how thorough I was with the conditions and the benefit of the information we received. I even got scolded by our witch who literally wears a collar for this nasty demon lady. Plus, the Lantern King left us gifts of the herb for our party's werewolves and the large sum of mystery funds. I see this as an absolute win. Am I the asshole? Sora.
Yes.
There's a lot to unpack there. Take a moment to absorb
there's a lot going in there.
If you need to.
So I think my only thing is this. Like, obviously, you want to make a power with. I mean, I don't know how I feel about misogynistic pumpkins, but if you want to make a pact with someone or a deal with someone, that is like ultimately your business. Though, I mean, why didn't you tell the party you were planning on doing this? Because I'm going to go ahead and guess that your answer is because they wouldn't have liked it. And so you went and did it anyway, knowing they wouldn't have liked it. Yes, you're the asshole.
They knew.
So my only, I think, response or potential question to that, because at least within the context we've been given, the only person who seems to have been at risk was the person who made the deal.
Negative.
No?
Negative. Because what was the verbiage? Like you get to, you can have access to my body, you get to use my body? Was that...
And then apparently there were ground rules. We obviously don't know what those ground rules are.
We don't know what the ground rules are, but whenever you allow somebody in a position like that to access you, it gives you access to those that are in proximity to you. And you don't know what's going to happen because obviously you weren't there. You woke up in an alley. So what did you do for this gold? Where did this stuff come from? And how could that, what if there's a dynamic in the group and somebody exploits that? And now, asshole.
So I think where I agree with you is the fact that you don't know what happened.
Correct.
If you were able to either take back control if something were to happen that broke those ground rules, or you could at least see and have knowledge of it, I might be more inclined to say you're not necessarily the asshole because you were the one taking all of the risk. But Jen is right. You don't know that they were beholden to any of those ground rules.
Correct.
Also, just putting this out there, the line, I even got scolded by our witch who literally wears a collar for this nasty demon lady. Don't kink shame. Don't yuck her yum.
Don't.
Hey,
you don't know. If it was consensual, mind your business.
Is she wearing the collar because she wants to? Mind your business.
And does it impact you guys at all? That's my question. Is that behind closed doors? Or did somebody put a collar on you? No. But somebody's going to be using their body to do things that could bring harm to the group, either by proximity because you robbed somebody and now they're coming after you and your group has to pay for it. Or what? Like there's a whole lot of, by giving control, that's a no.
Also, don't make deals with misogynists.
Just
as in general, just don't do that.
I have to know now because this usually ends up being the case. Is this one of your players, Kali?
Genuinely, I don't recognize any of these things in here, so I think for once this is not one of my players who left this.
Because there was a Kali campaign where a character did give their body over to a dread demon who was living inside of her.
That did happen, yes. That was rough.
Yep. All right. Well, Jenn, thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate it so much. This is the point of the show where we give you the chance to talk about, tell people what you have coming, if there's anything you want them to check out, where they can find you, how to interact with you, anything that you want. The floor is yours.
Okay, so hey everybody, I'm Jenn, CancerMoonCleric on most social media, so TikTok, Instagram. I'm working on the Twitch thing. Give me a break. I am main cast in actual play Untold Archives, and that airs every Wednesday. I'm also being featured in Playotic Games actual play on Tuesdays, and then I have projects coming up with both Daniel the DM and So You Want to Be a DM for actual plays there.
Nice.
There's a lot of fun projects coming up that I'm so blessed to be a part of. I'm trying to do everything and anything. So reach out, follow me, send me a message. Come hang out in Discord. I'm on Start Playing for anybody who's looking for games. I do homebrews and I do modules. I like my homebrews a little bit more, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, no, I love new players. I love veterans. I try to be a safe space for all of those and include everybody at my table who wants to be there and have a good time. So thank you all so much for having me. This was so much fun. I was so nervous to start, but you guys have really made me feel, comfortable and happy here. So thank you.
It is our pleasure. And as for us, if this isn't your first time listening, then you know what we're about. And if it is your first time here, besides podcasts, we also do a ton of homebrew over at our Patreon, which currently includes over 1,000 magic items, 16 subclasses, 2 species. The most recent of our subclasses is the Ghostwalker Fighter. And depending on when you're listening to this, we may also have just released or getting ready to release a system-neutral module called the Traveling Menagerie, which is basically like a pocket dimension pet shop for exotic pets. So don't worry, you're going to get that for free. All of our guests, we send all of our content to, so feel free to use it in whatever way it is that you would like to.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You can find us on social media, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. Just look up Cloaks and Capes Tabletop RPGs. And please, 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 if you've made it this far, leave a rating or review on whatever podcast or episode or platform that you're listening on. That's it for us. Until next time, everyone, keep listening, keep watching.
Bye-bye. The Cloaks and Capes podcast is created by the support of its listeners and generous Patreon donors. Special thanks to our mythmakers and legends, Heartslot, Dolvik, Celtic Crow, Darkflux, Gamergal, Tater Thoughts, Chili, Capelli, and Cuta. Views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of its hosts. Editing and production by Aaron Pillen and music provided by Aidan Hageland. If you want to support the Cloaks and Capes podcast, check out our Patreon over at patreon.com/cloaksandcapes and check us out on Threads and Instagram at Cloaks and Capes TTRPG.